have bad news and good news. The bad news is, after more than 100,000 selfies, I caught somebody's cold. The good news is, nevertheless, I persist. People told me, when they heard me early this morning, they said, you gotta cancel your day in Reno. And I said, Reno's been left out of way too many conversations for way too long. It's not gonna happen on my watch. So I thought what I'd do today is something very different. I would love to be doing our full-on cheer. But I thought what I'd do is I'd tell you, just for today, a little quieter story about what I find from the heart. And then we'll take just a few questions. I'll try to do my best. And then we'll do that most important part, selfies. For as long as we need to do them, because I'm so deeply honored that you would come here today. So the story I thought I'd tell you about starts with when I was a young mom. And I had always wanted to be a school teacher. Can we hear from our teachers? It was a long and bumpy path for me to get there, but I had made it. I was a special education teacher. I had 4 to 6-year-olds. I really liked my job. But then I got pregnant at the end of the first year, and the principal did what principals did in those days, wished me luck, and hired someone else for the job. So I end up, through one and another, I decided I gotta do something else, can't get a job. I ended up going to law school. Baby on hip, found a public law school, $450 a semester, head off to law school. Graduated physically pregnant. You will discover a pattern to these stories. And practiced law for about 45 minutes. And went back to my first love, which is teaching. So I got a teaching job down at the University of Houston. It was a regular tenure-track teaching job. And at the time, I just want to be blunt with everybody in this room, women weren't getting a lot of teaching jobs in law schools. That was, we could teach, but not law schools. And so I had this first teaching job, and I had 2 little ones. And I had a husband who's not the current husband. You may detect reasons for that in the story. And it was hard. I mean, it was really hard. I was trying to master what the new classes were about. I was one of, I think, only 2 women on the faculty. I'm trying to get it all done. And I got 2 little kids. And so I was one of those moms I served a lot of hot dogs with ketchup. Counts as a vegetable. And dinner was usually late, and baths were even later, and I was doing laundry at 11 o'clock at night, and class prep started at midnight. It was hard. It was hard, but I could do hard. The part that nearly sunk me was childcare. So we started out like a lot of people did. I had a daycare center, and then that didn't work out, and the place shut down. That kind of ends your plans, right? I had a babysitter. I had a neighbor who was going to take care of her kids and my kids until the day she decided she wasn't going to do it. And We ran through one after another, after another. I can still remember what it was like to pick up Alex, who was about 2 at this time, just a little guy, from daycare. He was sad, he hated it, and every time I would come to pick him up, he would scream and he would kick, just telling me how unhappy he had been about his whole day. So anyway, I'm just struggling. I'm going through one after another, after another. And it's early spring, and my Aunt Bee calls, 78-year-old widow. She lives up in Oklahoma. And she called and said, just one evening, "How you doing, honey?" And I said, "Fine." You know, fine. And then I started to cry. And I just boo-hooed. And I said, "I'm going to quit my job." I love that job, but I was going to quit because I just couldn't do it anymore. Now, Aunt Bee waited for me to quit crying. Didn't say a word, even at long distance rates. And finally she said, "Well, I can't get there tomorrow, but I'll come on Thursday." And she arrived with 7 suitcases, a Pekingese named Buddy, and stayed for 16 years. The reason I tell you that story is because I stand here today because I had an Aunt Bee, but most of America doesn't have an Aunt Bee. I think about how close I came to getting knocked off the track. And sure, maybe someday I'd have gotten back on it, maybe, although those jobs were hard to come by. I almost got knocked off the track over childcare, and here's the part that really gets to me. Today, the next generation of women have a harder time finding childcare than I did. How many women today, and men, get knocked off the track because they can't get their children, they can't find childcare for their children? We have gone generation after generation now, and childcare is something that simply is not available at a price that most families can afford. Got knocked off the track, how women of my daughter's generation nearly got knocked off the track, how my granddaughters are in a place to nearly get knocked off the track. They're not quite old enough yet. And this is when I think about what it means to have government, why it matters. All of the developed economies in the world put real resources into childcare, into early childhood education. Let me make clear, it's both. This is not just babysitters. These are people who educate our children from the time they're very, very small. We don't make those investments, and that means we are not investing in our babies, we're not investing in their mamas and daddies, and we are not investing in the future of this country. Story because I want you to understand. I'm not somebody who looked in the mirror when I was 14 and said, "You'd make a heck of a president."
You would!
That's not how I came to this moment with you. I came to this moment with you from living a life of opportunity, a college that cost $50 a semester, living a life of near misses, an Aunt Bee who saved me when I was about to go over the edge, a lifetime of getting out there and fighting for working families. I never in a million years thought I would end up in electoral politics. But I see this time in America when the fight has has come to us when we live in a world now where $1.5 trillion in tax cuts you can get through in a few weeks, and yet childcare for a baby is just still not there. I see this moment in America when we have so many problems, but a time in America when we have so much opportunity. So much opportunity. Donald Trump has been a disaster. Understand this, what was broken in our country was broken long before he came along. He has simply brought it all to the surface and made it all worse. So, I'm in this fight because I see this as a moment when we actually could make change, not nibble around the edges, not pretend to go back to an America that we somehow think was great, that we could actually be the country that invests in every one of our babies, that invests in every one of their mamas and daddies, that invests in a future that works and that grows from our best resource, and that is our investment in our people. So that's why I'm here. Why don't we do some questions and then I'll wrap this up. So here we go. Hi.
Hi. My question is...
Tell me your name.
My name is Laura.
Laura, it's nice to see you, Laura. I'm glad you're here.
And my question concerns care for seniors.
Yes.
Especially those who are on a fixed income and need assisted care, but aren't ready to be put to bed.
Yeah. So let's talk about that just a little bit. You won't be surprised. I have a plan for that. Of government as the expression of our values. That's what it should be. And I talked about our babies because I think that's an important part, but let's talk about the other half, and that is the importance. After a lifetime of hard work, people are entitled to retire with dignity. Includes long-term care for everyone, because that's how it should be. And my Social Security plan says, come on, it's time to make some adjustments to Social Security. We can ask those in the top 2% to pay a little more, and we can raise Social Security and disability payments for every single person who receives it by $200 a year. Okay, who else have we got back here? Hi.
Hi.
What's your name?
I'm Heather. Nice to meet you. Heather.
Heather. Nice to see you, Heather.
I would like to know, as a millennial and a nurse, I see so many patients that struggle. They come in with no insurance or terribly underinsured. They get stuck in the hospital. They have no resources. What do we do about this? What do we do? How do we set up people my age for the future in healthcare?
Okay, so it's a great question. Again, let's just do our values from this. Healthcare is a basic human right, and we fight for basic human rights. I got a plan for that. So here's how I together. I'm just going to take a little bit less extreme example than you used. Last year, 36 million Americans couldn't afford to have a prescription filled that they had gotten. And I want you to think about what that means. They were sick enough or scared enough to make an appointment to go see a doctor. The doctor was concerned enough to write a prescription, and then when the person left, they looked at that prescription and thought about being able to pay the rent on time, being able to buy groceries, and 36 million Americans threw away the prescription after that. Think about what that means in America. So here's how I think about this. We need to get the most help to the most people as quickly as possible. And I got a plan for that. I will do what a president can do all by herself. I will defend the Affordable Care Act. That means protection for people with pre-existing conditions. That's important. The Trump administration has been trying to sabotage it. We cannot let that happen. We have got to be in there and defending from the first day. The other thing I will do is I will use the power that a president already has but has been unwilling to use to lower the cost of prescription drugs. Use insulin or know someone who does EpiPens? Keep your hands up. Yeah. Any HIV/AIDS drugs, mental health drugs. I'm going to lower the cost of those drugs. We'll put the orders in place on the first day. This is what I say. And then I have shown I got a plan for how we can afford health care. Full coverage for everyone without raising taxes on middle-class families by one thin dime. We can ask the top 1% to pay a little more. We can ask companies like Amazon and Eli Lilly and Halliburton that are paying, reporting billions of dollars in profits and paying nothing in taxes. We can make them make some contributions, and we can go after the tax cheats at the top end. We can produce enough money to fund healthcare. We can let people try it, and when they like it, then we can vote on Medicare for all. I think that's how we're going to be able to provide healthcare for everyone. So thank you.
My name is Brent.
Hi, Brent.
When you're president, you're going to inherit a Congress that isn't really going to be set up to want to pass ambitious legislation. But I think there is a lot of freedom that you have in terms of executive actions and cabinet appointments. Could you talk a little bit about what you would be able to do with those?
So it's a great question, Brent, and it's exactly how I look at it, because I want you all to understand this from the beginning. For me, I'm not running for president so I can move to a nicer house. I'm running for president to get stuff done. Let's just talk just a little bit about the things a president can do. You mentioned executive action. Let me mention another one. Let's start with the Department of Education. I will have a Secretary of Education who has taught in public school. A Secretary of Education who believes in public education. Secretary of Education who believes that public dollars should stay in public education. Secretary of Education who believes it's time to throw high-stakes tests into the wastebasket. no shocker, I'm going to have a head of the Environmental Protection Agency who believes in science. Defense budget. But let me tell you exactly how I want to go about that. I want to have a Secretary of Defense who is not a former lobbyist for the defense branch. We can make real change in this country if we have a president who is on the side of the people and a president who is willing to build a team that is on the side of the people and then to back that team up all the way in the threat. That was our last question. Oh, okay, you kept me going. So let me just wrap this up and again apologize that we can't do the full rip roaring because God, do I want to. I feel good. I just can't do this right now. But I do want to talk for just a minute as we pull this together about what 3 years of Donald Trump has meant. People across this country are afraid. They are afraid for their families. They are afraid for their neighbors. They are afraid for children.